Hey, it's Chris with Maynard Dog Training Solutions, and joining me today from On Target Canine Training in Pageland, South Carolina, is fellow Marine Corps veteran and dog trainer extraordinaire, Jim Heaney. Jim, thanks and welcome, and I appreciate your time. We're going to do this a couple times. We're going to have a little mini series going, teach some people about some hunt dog stuff, some hunt dog training, and really get them out there and working their dogs. So thanks for joining, Jim.
Thanks for having me, Chris. It's great seeing you, bro. I just love the hell out of you, man. Just love the hell out of you. I love my jarheads, and just having fun.
Jim, tell us a little bit about your what you do, what your company is, and how you help people.
Oh, On Target Canine Training, our main focus is working with hunting breeds. Versatile gun dogs, retrievers, pointing dogs, predominantly pointing dogs, but the retrievers, pointers, and flushing breeds. Get them ready for natural ability tests and NAVDA or the utility tests of the same organization. Also, I help people get ready for some of their AKC field trials. They need a little work on some their specific areas. I'll help them with that. And go from there. The other thing I do is people, like I was saying to you earlier, is that there's plenty of people that don't do these tests, that don't do AKC field trials. They don't do NAVDA testing. They're not going to be breeders. They don't have any interest in that. They just want a good, solid hunting dog.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do. It's, I know guys, because back in Jersey, in Jersey most of my life, all that water around, and just had a crazy amount of waterfowlers, me included. And, duck dog, duck dog, duck dog. I was a lab guy, and, just always had tons of ducks, tons of geese, and just enjoyed it. So whether it's to get someone's dog ready just for them to hunt and have fun, or to help them get ready, get that dog ready and finally tuned for the testing so that they can, move forward and, have successful breeding programs and things like that also.
So are people sending you, you getting puppies straight out of the litter, or are people prepping dogs for you? Are you getting dogs that are already been with a family for a while? People that are new to hunting, perhaps?
I get a fair amount that are new to hunt testing and new to hunting. They decided to get into it, and they wanted a good dog. They might have hunted with a friend. I was like, wow, hunting with a dog's the best, because it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It absolutely is. I even had a dog at one point that wasn't a hunter, but went out with me when I hunted just to hang out.
Yeah.
So
that's some good times right there.
Yeah, I'm up for anything with the dog.
Yeah.
But it's the pups don't come to me straight out of a litter.
Okay.
Unless they're my own, and usually a pup comes to me somewhere between 4 and 8 months to get them ready for natural ability tests and NAVDA, or to help them just with bird introductions, just to get them going, get them started, send them back to the client, and usually have the client meet with me so we can go over what we're doing. If they live across the country, I videotape what we're doing.
Okay.
So that they can see what's going on, how we work with it, how we make corrections, how we give praise. The way I trained years ago is not completely different, but vastly different.
Right.
Where I use a lot more positive reinforcement.
Right.
A lot less of diversion training, whether it's negative punishment, negative reinforcement, those things. I try to do positive reinforcement. We can talk about e-collars later. I like to, when I use an e-collar on a dog, I like to go tone, vibrate, and very low stimulation, lowest stimulation possible. But that's down the line when you have dogs that are ready for that. So with the puppies, 4 to 8 months to get them to me. Dogs, they're anywhere from a year to, I had one last month I was working with. It was 5 years old. It was just a complete lunatic in the field, lovable dog, but didn't have a recall. His whole problem was no recall.
Yeah.
At 5 years old, and I'm hunting with a high prey drive, predator, because our dogs are predators.
All of them, yes, indeed.
Yeah, and we're honing that in to have them be the predator that we want, to find those birds or find the fur, because I rabbit hunt, I squirrel hunt.
Yeah.
Hey, redneck, man, can't tell you, and I say redneck proudly. My wife hates that. She's a Tar Heel girl. I'm proud of that, but it's, and we're going to get to that, to where we need dogs to be at when they come to a trainer, whether it's me or you or someone else, what that dog where he needs to be at. So for dogs and puppies, I like them to have, the puppies, some basic obedience, working with them. With dogs, grown dogs, I want their obedience to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I want them to have a strong recall. Another thing we'll talk about in a later discussion will be force fetch. If I'm working with a dog that's going to be training for his utility test or advanced AKC field trials, master hunter, things like that, I want them to be force fetch, or they like to call it nowadays conditioned retrieves. So where you're having a dog retrieve what you want, when you want, anytime you want, no questions asked, and bring it back delivered to hand. So if a dog's coming to me to train for the higher level testing, I want that force fetch in. I also do force fetch. I have people that send me their dogs and I force fetch them. Some people don't want to do it. It's stressful for the handler and it's stressful for the dog. Unless you can disconnect. Like when you and I work a lot with dogs with behavior problems. We're doing behavior modifications.
Right.
A lot of that with hunting breeds, because of that high stress, that high prey drive. They're always going zoom, 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 zoom. And one of my pet peeves is with people getting hunting breeds and not hunting them.
Yeah. They get it because it's a pretty dog.
Yeah.
They need a job. Just all those different breeds, they all need jobs.
Yeah. Like, would you build a drag car and just have it sit in your driveway?
Probably not.
No, right? You want to get out there and see what it can do. And dogs are designed for this. So having some, with a dog, some good solid obedience is key when you're sending them to a trainer, because you really don't want to have to pay a hunting trainer to do your obedience before we can do your hunting training, because now you're adding months.
Yeah.
Right? You're adding, at least 3 or 4 more weeks to your to your training regimen. So you want those dogs started. And if you have someone that's getting their first puppy, their first hunting breed puppy, first gun dog, there's plenty of places that you can order birds online. Zukovich Game Birds is in Pennsylvania. They ship around the country. They come right to your mailbox. I like them a lot. There's plenty of places down in the South here where you can get birds. You can just Google them and find them. But it's important that you get your pup on birds right away. I keep stressing that. You hear me? We talk exposure.
Birds.
Right. What's the other key thing you want to do with a puppy so that he's a great dog? Socialization. So before you're sending a dog to the trainer, make sure that dog's socialized. Because if you have a dog, your puppy grew up, you didn't let him go out and meet other dogs, other puppies, have that socialization, and learn manners and how to act, you might have a lunatic in the field.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
First time, because if say you go to a game preserve, you're not hunting out in the wild like out in Oklahoma, or if I go up in the mountains up in North Carolina,
Right.
out western South Carolina. You're on a game preserve and you can see the other fields. You're at a safe distance, but there could be 3 dogs over there. Your dog takes off. So now we go back to recall, right? Now we go back to recall. So if your dog hasn't been socialized properly, you might have some issues. If you didn't work on those basic fundamentals, which recall is key, dog's gonna be gone. So those are the ones you want solid.
We're going to talk about a little bit more about recall here in a bit. What other, we talk about breeds and pointers and all these other things. I go out, I have my American Bulldog Lab mix. She comes out. We do migratory birds. She's great at retrieving. She's great at holding with me. We'll go out on a kayak or a boat. But, are there other things that I should be working on, or should I, is there something that I can do at home to teach my dog, or something I can work with a local trainer with that will kind of help tune up those little things that we need in our gun dogs, I guess you could say?
There's a lot of little things that we can tweak all the time. It's what's specific. There's so many different areas. Are we talking field work with birds? Are we talking water work with waterfowl, duck, geese?
Yeah, what? Let's go ahead and jump on that, because I really like geese, and I'm an avid goose hunter myself. Not always with my dog. I like to bring her out. What are I just bring my dog out. She's in the hide with me, but most people, they don't even know where to start or what to do.
Just
nice.
Always got a duck all handy, man.
Nice.
So what can you do to get ready?
Yeah, if I'm just bringing her out there with me and I'm in the hide, should I be training while I'm out there hunting, or should I have something where I set aside some time somewhere else? I find a field, or is there a difference between the two? Do I need to really be ready before I go out there, kind of thing?
Yeah, it's ready. Just like when you and I were Marines, we had to be ready before we went out, right?
Yeah, we always practice.
Yeah, we always practice. So in my training, I use a lot of bumpers. I use Doken. I don't have one here, but the Doken pheasant, Doken ducks, and just regular bumpers, so that I can get those retrieved. That's after I've forced fetched the dog, so that I know he'll retrieve or she'll retrieve reliably. 99% of the time. They're never going to be perfect. They're going to be close, get close. But you want to prepare before the season even starts. I use live birds. I use ducks. I use quail. I use pheasant, and I use chucker, and I use homing pigeons. And it's important. So waterfowl, which is your specific real interest, it's wildlife management areas. If you don't have property, like I have property, I have 2 ponds on my property, so I can train, I can launch ducks. I use zinger wingers that remotely launch ducks. When I'm in the field, I have pheasant launchers. Dogs are pheasant launchers that are remote. But just to get your dog working consistently waterfowling, what happens if you're in a blind? I'm just going to give you one situation here. Your dog's in a blind, you're in a blind, you shoot a duck, the duck goes down, dog didn't see where the duck went.
She's going to be out there lost. Right.
So one of the things that I really like about NAVDA is in the training for the utility test. In the utility test, they have duck search.
Okay.
So your dog has to walk with you at heel. So we go back to obedience, heel, up to the bank. You fire a shot. Now there's a couple of ducks planted out in whatever body of water you're at. You fire a shot, whether it's a blank or blank shotgun. Then you send your dog out and search. And the dog has to spend 10 minutes for the test, has to spend 10 minutes in the water searching. If he finds the duck, he has to come back and deliver it to hand.
Nice.
No, deliver it to hand. But how do you get there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, you have a kayak, right?
Yeah.
You have a dog?
I do.
All right. All you need is a duck.
I got ducks. We got ducks everywhere.
All right. But you need ducks that you can train with. And wildlife management areas allow for dog training.
Okay.
In most states. So check with your own state guidelines and see what it is.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll braille the duck so that you look at a duck's webbed feet, I bring them together and I just tape them with a little duct tape.
Yeah.
Both. I don't tape the legs together. I just tape those flippers so they can't dive. And then I take one wing and I tie one wing. So they have one wing that can go, they can't fly away. And then that. Now, it's nice if you have two people to work with, but you can do it on your own if you need be. I'll tether my dog. I have tie outs where I spike a tie out, hammer a tie down.
Yeah.
And then I have the dog on the bank. I'll kayak out a little. I'll throw a duck and then release the dog because he'll see where the duck lands. So gradually, just like when we're teaching the dog, heel, and we do it 1, 2, 3, yes, and we're just working, baby steps. You got that duck where the dog's seeing you throw it out. So if you're on the bank and you get your buddy and he's out there throwing ducks out, you just progressively move further and further out, and then put the duck out where the dog can't see it. Just place it out there. Send the dog. The dog's gonna, just from repetition, is gonna learn that there's ducks in the water. Daddy fired a shot. Boom.
It's a trigger.
So
like a
bam.
legit trigger sends them out.
Yeah. So
Jim, if you don't mind, I'm gonna back up a little bit here because you had me thinking about getting them to return those birds, and we're talking about recall and the force fetch. Suppose you have a decent force fetch or you have a decent retrieval, but the bird's not bringing it back, and you can't figure out, what it is.
The dog's not bringing it back?
The dog's not bringing it completely back to you, or they're just dropping it on the way or whatnot. Is there a certain reward system that you're using for the dog? Is there will I keep them tethered up to bring them all the way back to me? Like, am I doing like a recall, like back in my backyard? Am I bringing the dog into me, or am I doing it a different way, or how do you set that up?
So here we go to force fetch, and we can break it down in another video here. But if a dog isn't bringing it all the way back to you, if he's dropping it, and if you force fetched your dog and it's still doing that, something was missed in that force fetch training. Like my dog Cactus, there was something missing. So this season I was like, there something wasn't connecting, and he was bringing the bird near me.
Yeah.
I had to reach down a little further than right in front of me. So I go back through force fetch with him to find out what I missed. And check cords are huge. I use 20-foot, 30-foot, and 50-foot check cords. I get puppies used to check cords early on. To get a puppy used to pulling a cord around, I use parachute cord, 550 cord.
Yeah.
Because it's little and small, they're puppies, really is going to hurt you. So that they're used to dragging something around. So you get a dog used to a check cord. You want to be able, when you're force fetching, make those collar corrections, that little tug, fetch, and have the dog bring it to you. whether it's sit at your side, sit in front of you, stand, however,
Whatever you
stand,
decide.
whatever, whatever you want for your dismount,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, that's where you go. But that's what you're going to need to do. I don't use check cords in water. I don't use check cords in water. Dog could get caught up in a check cord and not have a good experience.
Yeah. What
But
about
you want to make sure if you're with the live birds. I have a dog force fetch. I'm hand throwing from the bank. I'm throwing a duck out 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet.
yeah.
However far I can, but however short I can, so the dog has to go in, swim a little bit, and bring it back, so that I can control the scenario. So we gradually work our way out, right? Gradually work your way out. So always think baby steps. We can always drop back if we're moving forward and the dog's bringing it to me, retrieving to me at a 10-foot throw out, 10-foot toss, and he's bringing it back. Now I go 15 and he's okay. I like push it and I go for 20 feet, and he comes and he swims over this way and kind of drops the duck over. Something was missed.
Yeah.
So bring it back in and do that.
I just want to reiterate something, and this goes for obedience as well as hunt dog training, is don't be afraid to take a step back and retrain, or bring it all the way back to the beginning and retrain from the beginning. It's important to fine tune those details.
I'm a dog trainer like you. I see something that I missed in my dog. My dog didn't miss it.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Right.
I missed it, and I know why I missed it. Because hunting season was coming up.
That's right.
And I just wanted to be done, and my dog loves to hunt. Doing it. I mean, I bird hunt probably, I don't know, 90 days out of the season at least. We had over 700 birds, upland hunting this year. Our duck season, our goose season wasn't as good this year, but we still had a number. But I rushed finishing something up to get to the season where I hunt enough. I could have waited a couple more weeks, finished up the process,
right,
rather than rush through the process. Now I had to take my dog back through it, which is fine. I'm okay with it, but
that's where you lost it.
Yeah. The same thing that I tell a client, I did.
Oh, absolutely. I do it quite often as myself.
The same. Yeah. That's that little funny thing. We're only human. No, sorry, I'm a jarhead. And sometimes a little thick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as a trainer, it's my responsibility to go back and make sure I'm there. And I like what you said. Don't be afraid to go back. Don't be afraid.
Absolutely not. No. It's all about, we're going to fail more times than we're going to succeed, because we need that.
Absolutely.
Just like any sports game.
Yeah. And watching that light bulb go on with these dogs, I get it. I get it. It's a lot of fun.
Jim, now,
there's no greater joy than working with dogs.
Oh, absolutely. Love it. Backing up a little bit again, when you're rewarding dogs out there in the field, or when you're training these things, you using food to train, or what are you using for a reward system?
I like to use venison.
Okay. It's a really high quality, high protein, really yummy.
Yeah. And it's just slightly browned in a pan, just it's actually easier to handle.
Okay.
It's easier to handle.
Yep.
And you've heard me say this before, squirrel bacon.
Yeah.
It's smoked squirrel. Dogs do amazing things for a little bit of smoked squirrel bacon. You know what I mean? And you do that. But I'm going to tell you this: when you have prey drive, you're on live birds.
Yeah.
You're with a predator, and you're going to offer him
something else.
So, like, it better be good.
Right.
It better be good. So I'll use venison, and I'll use squaw. I go to average. It's got to be really high value.
But which
Know
also
what?
comes back to training. You got to make sure that those distractions you can take those away. Like you can get your dog off of something like that without
Right,
tearing up the
right. When I'm working in the lab, in the yard, in the house, in my training studio, when I'm working on obedience skills with a dog, I'm not using as high a value reward as I do in the field.
right. And why
Because
is that?
where else?
Distractions, right? The bigger the distraction.
Yeah, bigger the distraction, the bigger the reward.
Yeah.
We got to be able to help our dogs learn,
Right.
and we have to get them to focus. A nice tasty bit of steak. Oh yeah. I mean, you can get my head to turn if you're grilling a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, if I'm eating a piece of pizza and you got a cheeseburger, I'm
Yeah.
switching.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So,
what do you want?
so we look at it that way. There's old school of thought. You don't treat. You don't use treats in the field. I use treat reinforcement when I'm force fetching, my force fetch training too.
Okay.
So, there's a good amount of trainers out there that don't agree with how I go about it.
Let's Jim, you want to talk about that a little bit? About because that's unusual and it is different that you use food, because really you're trying to keep the dog on it, not release to come get a reward. But how do you work that in the training?
Well, I'm only using the treat reinforcement on a retrieve.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's the big one.
Okay.
If I'm doing for a puppy and I just want them to point the bird, because they don't have to retrieve. For a natural ability test, they don't have to retrieve a bird. So for a puppy, I'll treat after a good point. Like, here you go. Or just give that good, high amount of physical praise, verbal and physical praise. Those are huge. Those are the two that I mainly use in the field.
Right.
Or in any of my trainings, verbal and physical praise. But if it would be really hard to treat reinforce a dog for a good point, then a good flush, then a good steady to flush, then a good steady to wing, then a good steady to shot, then a good steady to fall, then a retrieve. I'm not going to give a dog 6 treats for one thing.
Right.
I mean, those are.
But maybe when you're training back in the lab, you're going to individually build these up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's that force fetch, and just like you, I slow the rate of reinforcement when I know a dog's solid.
Yeah. Once you know you're good.
Once I know he's good, then. But it's the old school of thought was, there's a place and a time, especially when you're talking dogs with high prey drive, the hunting breeds. There's a time and a place for a prong collar. It's not for every dog. It's
right.
not needed for every dog. There's other ways to do it. E-collars. E-collar isn't going to do anything for you except beat up your dog unless the dog's been trained, has the solid obedience skills, and he's been conditioned to that e-collar.
Right.
So there's a number of things there when we're talking reinforcers, and we also have to talk about, my Delta word is
Yeah.
If dog isn't yeah.
Dogs catch it too. They know what it is.
Yeah, they know. They can tell by that tone of our voice. In the field, when I'm giving praise, my octave has to go up much higher. And when I'm making a correction, I'm I'm dropping it, and I'm
Right.
you know, it's
Which is
so
also another important thing to remind people is that consistency of doing those things. You got to bring that in the lab too. Because if I'm doing a or a no, but then I'm out in the field and I'm going or doing the different voices at different levels, dog's not going to understand what that means.
right, right. I had a judge. I was getting judge testing a dog a number of years ago, and he said to me, he said, "Jim, you're like me. You got a pretty deep voice." He said, "You know, I notice when you tell your dog good boy, it sounds like good boy." He says, "When you tell your dog no, it sounds like good boy." Because he can't tell the difference because you're here. And I said, "Huh." He said, "So what I do is I like good boy, you know, exaggerate it."
Yeah.
So if we can learn in the lab, you know, your home, your backyard, you know, some little training facility that you're going to work at with a trainer, if we can work good boy, and we go, no, we bring that same out, just like you were saying, that same way that we're talking, the way we talk in the
And
lab, we're going to
just
talk in the field.
right.
And when you when you're talking about getting out to the field, another thing you got to talk about is your whoa training. Whoa, stop,
Right.
right? And we'll get into that a bit, but it's you got to steady up a dog, so you have to whoa them. And I like to when I'm training dogs for just obedience, I get whoa in there. When a dog is a puppy, I'm working on whoa. As he's walking to a door,
Starting to learn it right away.
learn. The earlier you can teach them, the sooner you can learn how your dog operates.
Yeah. So that's a good point too. Building habits for ourselves as well as our
Bingo.
yeah.
You know, you can see we can take a look at what our dog's doing, and we can see what we've done wrong.
Right. Absolutely. If we're conscious of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's the other day out in the field with a client. The client's telling me, Dave doesn't do this, won't do this, won't do this. You know, it's I don't know where it is, but I said, all right, we'll take a look. We'll run him through his reps out in the field. And these are field reps, so this is pointing, you know, steady to flush, wing, and shot. And that's where we're at with this dog, steady to shot. He went out in the field with me, and boom, 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 hit his marks. 4 different birds, steady to shot on all of them. Came back and I said, so where are you seeing a problem? He doesn't act like that with me in the field. I said, okay, let's run a few more birds.
Right.
Dogs this way. Pick a direction. And
Yep.
it's chasing a bird, doing it. So, okay. What the client didn't do is, and client's a great guy. The client didn't work with his dog on his own. He didn't continue the training after the training.
Ah.
So when we go to school, what do we get when we leave school?
Homework.
Bingo. Thank you. You know, so we all have homework. Trainers have homework,
Absolutely.
clients have homework, and our dogs have homework. They just think it's playing.
Right. Then that's what we want. We want them to learn it and play.
Right. We want enthusiasm.
Yep.
And you know, there's so many aspects of hunting. You know, with a gun dog, you have to break things down into small segments, work on those things. You're going to go out in the field one day or for 5 days, you know, 5 times in a row, and oh, it was great. You're going to get out there that 5th or 6th time, and the dog's going to collapse. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's not going to be exact. And I don't mean a full collapse, but
Right.
I mean,
You just mean it's falling apart.
it's an off day. It's an off day, and instead of holding a point, the bird might have moved, and he goes in and snatches that bird out.
Yeah.
Okay, it happens. Move on to the next bird. You know, move on. Put it in your memory bank. Say, well, what might I need to work on here? Do I have to go back to a check cord with my dog?
Yeah.
You know, and with the whoa training, you know, if we're going to whoa them on a bird that's pointing, you know, I'll use that on the collar across the back and a half hitch around just on the flanks.
Yeah.
so I can load the dog. Now, if I'm doing that with a check cord, I don't have to hammer a dog with an e-collar.
Right. And you can learn it fast.
Learn it fast.
Yeah.
Learn it
Jim,
fast.
talking about wowing your dog and keeping your dog close, we reached out and got some questions from the audience pre-video here. If you wouldn't mind answer some of these.
Sure.
So the first one, and we've really talked about this a lot already, and we want to hammer this home. This is in general obedience and hunt dog training as well. How do you help build a solid recall? What are the steps, or what should people be doing at home, whether previous to going with you and training their dog with you, or going out on their own and doing it themselves in hunting?
Other than people that might have limited abilities and mobility, one of the first things most people do is put their dog on a leash as a puppy.
Right.
I don't. I want the dog to experience freedom from the get-go, and it's easy to get a puppy to chase you, to come towards you. So you're building recall the day you get the dog. The day you get that puppy, you start recall.
Yeah.
Right? Develop it. As the puppy grows and develops, and you're always bringing around, I like to give jackpot rewards for recall. I'm not just giving one little piece of kibble or a little tiny piece of cheese. No, recall, I want to build that up good. I'm giving a better reinforcer, and I'm giving more. Yeah. And I give it at a high rate. Right? Give it at a high rate. And the other thing is the puppy grows a little bit, can handle it, then have them dragging that check cord around with you. If you go to a park, let the dog just walk around with the check cord. You can always run around, step on a check cord, and stop a puppy. Right. Then you have an opportunity to recall if you have to bring the puppy to you. Right. It's a learning opportunity. So the more that we allow our dogs some freedom, the better they're going to be as they grow and develop that recall coming around and out in the field. So it's real important for me, and my way of thinking, my school of thought is your dog needs to be off leash from the get-go. Right. You can add the leash, right? You can add that check cord down the road, especially when puppies start getting a little faster than you. Yeah. Right. Right. 4 months, my poodle pointer could outrun me. Yep. So check cord became imperative, because that gives me 20 to 50 feet, depending on which one I'm using, to step on that cord if I needed to. Yeah. Management. I love it. We have management and we have training. Yeah. And they go hand in hand. They work well together. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I want to stress the importance of management. If you're not training, management, it has to be there. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. It has to be there. Otherwise, so you lose all that training. Well, let's talk about management for lack of recall. Yeah. Your dog has to be tethered to you. Right. It has to be on a check cord. Or has to be on a leash. I don't like retractable leashes. Same here. I don't allow them. I don't train with them. We don't use them. Yeah, I just don't. I actually had a guy one time come in, and he had a check cord and he had a retractable leash, and he goes, "I like this one. It's got a handle." And I said, "Yeah, but that handle can't drag through tall grass. It's going to get hung up, and your dog's going to be stuck." Yep. That check cord will glide through things to do that. But management, you're going to have that dog tethered, so that behavior of running away and not listening to your recall. If you're allowing your dog to get away and you're saying, "Simba, come here," you're just killing it. Yeah. You're going to end up never being able to say "Simba, come" or "Simba, here." You're going to have to teach it a new word and say "Simba, baloney. And that's the only way you can get your dog to come to you. Because they don't care. They don't, you know it. They don't care what the word is.
Right.
You know?
They want to know what's in it for them. When I get there, what am I getting?
Yeah.
Am I getting something?
Yeah. And hunting breeds are Ferraris, and they're fast.
Yeah.
You know, poodle pointers, GSPs, English pointers, you know, German wire hairs, Deutsch Drotters, even lambs. They're fast, man. They're way faster than we are. So recall, and not just for hunting breeds, but for your house pet too, for your family pet. You know, you need a strong recall, especially if a dog's breaking, heading towards the street or anything. And that's another one where whoa training comes in.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Like a cop saying freeze.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't know about that, but I've seen it on TV.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, but it's important. Recall, I would say, is the number one behavior that you want to have solid.
Nice. So Jim, one last thing before we hang up and call this one. But how do people reach you? How do they reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you and get training with you?
Oh, you could reach me. You could email me at jim@otk9t.com, or you can reach me at 732-539-0191.
And you're also on social media as well.
Also on social media, you can find me on Facebook, on Target Canine Training LLC on Facebook, Jim Heaney on Facebook, Jimmy Shoulders, whatever you need.
Speaking of Jim, that was going to be my last point here before if we kept viewers this long, some might recognize you from somewhere. Give people that look. Let them know who you are and who you were in your previous life.
How's that? Can you see that?
From the ECW, yes, you can see
it. It was the ECW days, but I was a professional wrestler for 12 years. I'm a much better dog trainer than I ever was a wrestler.
I hope so, Jim.
I really do. They're not making me wear funny outfits training dogs. Training dogs.
Jim, I just want to say thanks. We're going to continue this again. We'll do it again next week. We'll get some really good tips out for people.
Yeah.
Get them training their dogs at home and doing things, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll cover introduction to birds. We'll cover force fetch. We'll cover pointing. We'll cover water retrieves and things a little more in depth. But awesome. Thanks for having me, and thanks for getting together. I'm really looking forward to it.
I can't wait. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right, see you, Jim.
Thanks, Chris.